Hi everyone, hope you guys are doing great. In today's video, we are going to work on user registration. So if you can recall in our last videos on identity, ASP.NET identity, we have created a login system and we have created a default user using which we were able to log in. But user wasn't able to register on his own. So in today's video, we are going to register the user. So without further ado, let's open the okay. So let me just quickly run the app as we used to run always. So let me just quickly run the app and I'll be quickly showcasing you. So what actually I'm talking about and where we are going to integrate that login or registration screen. So you can see we have our login with us and you can log in using default username and password. But there is a provision to register as a new user, but you can see there is nothing over here. So let's start implementing the codes now. If you can recall, we have created all these identity related things inside the account controller. So let me just open the account controller, and in account control let me just collapse the rest of the things. And so we do have the sign in like actions, but now we are going to implement a register action. So let's just start implementing it, allowing anonymous. As you might already know that it will allow any action to be accessed while the user is unauthenticated, because as of now we are expecting the user is not yet authenticated. And public IO action results, and we are going to name this as register action. And what we are going to return, we are going to return a view. So this is pretty simple. We are going to return a register view. We are going to create a register view as well. So for the time being, let's just focus on creating the actions first. On a similar lines, this register is the page when we are going to get, actually this is going to be a HTTP request. I can even explicitly mention it and I can omit this as well. So for the time being, I'm omitting this. I am going to create one more HTTP post request, and this is again for our register user. So let me just add the allow anonymous because still the user is not yet logged in. Let me just use the validate anti-forgery token as well, because we don't want any post token or any request originating from any other like URL. So let's start writing this, and public async, and what we are going to get task and I action result. So, and this time again, this is going to be a register method, and we are going to create a register view model, which I'm going to create in a while. Using this, the model related data is going to be posted to the server, and the second thing is going to be a return URL. So return URL is by default it's null, but if it's being provided, so you can think like we can redirect the user to that URL. So with this being done, let's just check if the model state is valid. And if the state is valid, what we are going to do, we are going to create a new user. If you can recall, our user class was application user. So let's just use the application user class. So with this application user class, what we are going to provide username, and within the model we are receiving an email, and for email we are also receiving an email. So this being done, let me just use this curly braces as well, and now we are going to inside this if we are going to get the results. So we tried creating application user. Now we need to create this, and for that creation we need to have user manager dot create async. If you can recall that, okay. So for this user manager, we are going to use the user manager. We do have a user manager. If you can recall, I will quickly show you. You can see that we have injected a user manager inside our controller. So let me just use this user manager, and then we need to use the create async. So this time we are going to create the user based on the provided data, and this time we are going to provide the user object over here, and one thing like model.password, the password which user have provided. As you already might know that this password is going to be hashed. So in actual database, it is going to be saved as a hash, not actual password is being saved. Then we need to check if the result is succeeded. So if the result is succeeded, what we are going to do? Then we are going to sign in because we have registered the user. So we need to sign in. So using await, we are going to use the sign in manager, and then we need to use the sign in async, and what we are going to pass the user itself. And we do have a property is called is persistent, but we are not going to keep or like have any persistent as of now, because we are just registering the user. So in case if the user close the browser or come back after closing, so he will have to re-log in. So let's just keep or use this as false, and then what we are going to do, we need to return. And if you can recall, we have created a redirect to local method, which what that does, it takes a URL and see if the URL is local URL, then it redirects back to that URL, and if that's not a local URL, it's redirect back to the catalog index. So with that being done, what we are trying to achieve further, let's just add one more thing. There could be a possibility that we might have received any error, like if the result is succeeded, but if the result itself is not succeeded, there could be a possibility the user is not created, it might have been a duplicated user. So to cater those type of errors, we need to, let's just provide the result to this. I'm going to create a private method. So let's just generate that method, and it's again going to be over here. And over here, what I'm going to provide, I'm going to provide identity results. Initially, it thinks regarding like having object, but I'm going to provide identity results, and this is going to be result. And there are like there could be multiple errors being provided. So just to get and like get all the errors and adding it to the model state, what we need to do, we need to have all those errors being entered over here. So let's just capture that, and in errors dot error, all for all the errors, what we are going to do in the model state, we are going to add this. So let's just use the model state and then add model error. And what we are going to add, we are going to add a key which is like simple like this, and for the error we are going to use that error dot description. And with this being done, we have added our method. And what we are going to do, once this error have been added, so we are going to return the URL. We are going to return this model back to the view, because in case if the user is not yet created or something, so we have to redirect back to the same view using this model having errors. So that's the thing which we have created, and that was more of related to the controller related things. But there is one thing remaining, and this is called the register view model. So let me just quickly create this. Let me just generate a class. Let me just move it to the view model. So where is, okay, so I'm going to move it to the view model. And after this, let me just resync the namespaces. So this way, okay, let me just save it first. Seems like there is some issue. What else I need to do? Let me just check it again. Okay, seems like it's fine, but I'm expecting this. Okay, fine. Seems like it have done. this as right. So let's just try populating this, and if you can think, because we need to register the user. So the primary thing that will be requiring is going to be the email address, because we are treating this email address is the actual as an actual user. And what we are going to display, so display is going to be the name, or name is equals to email. So this is going to be the email, and the property is going to be email. So second thing that we will be requiring is a sort of a password. So this time the password which we are trying to generate, we are going to set a string length as well. The reason that we need to validate or need to provide a specific, I would say, criteria that the password should be at least this much or that much. So that's what we are trying to achieve. So for the string length, we will be requiring a maximum length. You can see, so maximum length is going to be like sort of 100, which we are going to have that. And let's just search an error message. So error message is going to be, but we are going to set the error message to the 0. I will tell you exactly what these fields are going to refer to. So let's just wait for that. Let the 0 must be at least character long. So you might be thinking what this 0 is referring to, and what this 2 is referring to, and why we haven't used bracket 1, somewhat the 0 must be at least this character long, or should be less than 1. So the reason is this 0 is referring to the property name, this 2 is actually referring to the minimum length, and this one is referring to the maximum length. So character long, let me just remove this because it will be very big. Let me just move further. So what we are trying to do now, we are going to set the minimum length, because we have set the character, we have set the this is string, but minimum length is not yet set. So let's just set the minimum length is equals to 6. So this is just we have set, and we need to set data type and data type password, because this is going to be data type password. And what we are going to do further, we are going to use the display name as password. So let's just create the property, and with this password being there, just one more thing we need to create, and that is going to be password, confirm password. So again, the confirm password is going to have a data type password. So this will refrain from displaying the characters. It's going to display as characters, and the display name is going to be display name is going to be let me just use the display, and then it's going to be name, and name is going to be confirm password. So we are going to compare it, and within this compare, what we are going to compare this with, we are going to compare it with the password. So error message is going to be if this compare doesn't work. So what it's going to do, so we are going to show a sort of error, the password and confirm password do not match, password do not match. So this is going to be a confirm password, and let's just close this. So we have our model available with us, and we have our controller actions ready as well. So just one thing remaining, we need to create a view as well. So let me just create the view for our register. So let me just create this view. And let's just add this view. And this is going to be, we are going to call this register. And as you might know that it's an account controller, so it's going to be inside the account. So rather than just typing all the HTML, I'll be copying and pasting it. So let me just copy and paste it. Okay, I have copied the code, and before moving further, let me just quickly brief you what I've done. So somewhat in a similar lines, we are using the registered view model, which we have just created. And within the view data title, we have this registered. So we are just calling the title as register. And on a similar lines, there is a container having ULLI, and it says already have an account. So if there is an already account, so it can allow us to move to the sign in action. But in case if the user is not registered, so we have this div, and within this div there is a section, and over here we have a form. So in that form you can see that on accounts controller we are trying to post this. So, and you can see even the ASP route return URL is being set to the view data return URL. If that's being present, so it will be routed back to that URL. And over here, we are having a ASP validation summary in case if any errors do occur on the server, and with the model state being populated with those errors. So using this ASP validation summary, we can see all those errors. So basically, unobtrusive JavaScript is going to do all these things. And over here, you can see an email. And on a similar lines, you can see ASP4 is being used. And then we have a ASP validation for using the email. Then over here, we have the password. And then we have a confirm password. And over here, you can see we have a button which is going to say that we are going to register. And this is just one note because we already have a default user. So it says that in case if you don't need to register, you can use the credentials which we have already with us. So with this being done, let's just try to run and see if it works or not. You can see that we have the login available as, and now again we are going to click on register as new user. So you can see we are redirected to a page where it says already have a login, so it can navigate us back to the login screen. But as we need to register the user, so let me just try registering a user, and rather than use demo register demo, okay, rather than demo user this time, let me call this demo user 2 at microsoft.com. And you can see even I haven't done any validation on my own, but the field itself is validating. So this is being done with the tags that we have used. So let's just use that. Let me just use a user password. So let me just use a password, and hopefully it should work. And because the password are both same. So if I'm going to remove one, and you can see it says password and confirm password do not match. So all the validations, client-side validations are getting performed very easily. And let me just click on register. So let's just register, and you can see it's navigate back to our screen. And let's see if we can re-log in. And one thing you might notice that in our last video we haven't implemented the sign out. So let's just implement the sign out as well. Let me just do it quickly. So let's go to the account controller, and in account controller, let's just try to, after the sign in, let me just add a sign out. So let me just add the HTTP post, and we are going to have a HTTP post. Let's just do one thing, use a validate entity version token, and this is going to be again a public async task action results, and we are going to call this sign out. And what we are going to do, we are going to use the HTTP context. If you can recall, we have our like a session being available to us, and we are going to clear that because we are trying to log in. So we are clearing the session, and then we are going to use the await, and using the sign-in manager that we have with us, we are going to use the sign out async. So with the sign out sync, what we are going to do, we are going to do redirect to action, and this time we are going to redirect it to name of catalog controller dot index. I'll be quickly telling you regarding the code why I've used certain things. So let me just quickly complete this. Okay, one thing you might have noticed, I'm using HTTP post. So for these type of things, like for sign out, HTTP GET is not recommended because it will bookmark sort of a URL, and using that, then it could have been like if someone tries to use that URL, so the user will be logged out inadvertently. So rather than using, it's a best practice to have HTTP post for our sign out action. That's one thing. The second thing you can see, we are like simply clearing the session, and then we are signing out using the sign-in measure, and we are redirecting to action. You can see that we haven't created any specific like view, because there is no need to have a sign out view. Sign out is just the action we're performing is, rather than returning to a view, we are just redirecting it to the specific action. So let's try to create this once again. Let's see if it works fine or not. So let's try to log in. This time I'm going to register a new user because we are using in-memory database. So the previous user would have been removed. So let's just rename this one 123, and I'm going to use a password. So let's just use a password. So these are equal, and let's just register it. And with this, I'm just trying to save it so I can easily. So let me just log out. You can see the session have been cleared, and now I'm trying to log in again. And when I'm trying to log in, so you can see the user do exist. So hopefully, yeah, this is a very quick video, and we just covered a small topic, but that was sort of required to complete our like scenario for signing and sign out. So registering was a main part, and also the sign out needs to be catered properly. So hopefully you have learned this, and if you feel that it's valuable, so feel free to like and comment on that video. And if you think something needs to be added or elaborated more, so feel free to share that as well. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.